The Democrats cannot stay on message. They don't get it. Eric Swalwell just proved this. You remember Eric Swalwell? He is best known for his incontinence on a CNN camera and for dropping out very, very early of the 2020 presidential primary and for sleeping with a Chinese spy. Eric Swalwell tweeted out yesterday in an attempt to exploit the Buffalo massacre, the shooting that took place over the weekend. He wanted to exploit it for his own political purposes. And so he tweeted out, quote, "My 4-year-old just FaceTimed to ask what I'm doing to help the people of Buffalo. And why did the bad man do this? Absolutely gutting. This cannot be his normal." I guess there's a typo there. "It's time to ban assault weapons. #end gun violence." Never mind for a second that Swalwell is using such a deeply insincere and ridiculous tweet format. People make fun of this. They say, "My 3-year-old just called me and he asked me, 'Daddy, how do we reconcile deontological and consequentialist ethics?' And I said, son, I don't know." And then everyone in the TSA line applauded. "My 18-month-old baby just texted me and he said, 'Daddy, how do we resolve the Riemann hypothesis?' And I said, 'I don't know, Sonny. Let me go visit your Princeton math class." And then everyone at Harvard applauded. And this is the kind of format that everyone makes fun of. It's become a meme. And Eric Swalwell sent this out sincerely, as though his 4-year-old was FaceTiming him and asking him about these things. But even worse for Swalwell, he's not on message. He doesn't realize that while, of course, the Democrats are exploiting the mass shooting to advance their own political agenda, they're not doing it on gun control right now. The way that the Democrats are exploiting the tragedy is to try to incite a race war. The way that the Democrats are currently exploiting the tragedy is to try to get Tucker Carlson fired. That's what they are going to get to gun control. That is going to happen, but they're not on it yet. And so Swalwell, he's not even on the right moment of the messaging, of the propaganda, of the way that the Democrats are exploiting this tragedy. Really embarrassing, though not surprising. Eric Swalwell is not ready for prime time. Megyn Kelly, our friend Megyn Kelly, just threw her hands in the air. She was so furious at the way that the Democrats had been exploiting this tragedy. She asked a simple question. She said, "Hey, before all the political maneuvering, can we just take a couple minutes to mourn?"
Some in the media have been quick to point fingers and even place blame on our friend and very popular Fox News host, Tucker Carlson. It's outrageous. It's wrong, both factually and morally. Why do we have to go to that place immediately on these stories? Why can't we spend 2 minutes mourning the people who are dead and trying to understand that we have insane people in this country? We have lunatics. It's a huge country. We're not going to be able to get rid of them all. It infuriates me. People have to inject their politics into everything. And this guy had a racist manifesto. There's no question. That doesn't make it Tucker Carlson's fault. Just stop it. Just stop it.
Megyn is so good at these sorts of stories, at telling these stories, especially with this kind of level of tragedy to it and really conveying what happened and who these people were. And she's really, really good at that. But in answer to her question, can't we take 2 minutes to? No, we can't. We can't. The Democrats will not let us do that. The reason that we can't just take 2 minutes to mourn before this becomes political is because the only reason that the media are having us talk about this at all is to attack conservatives. That's the whole point. Megyn Kelly says, can't we just mourn for 2 minutes before we politicize a tragedy like the shooting in Buffalo? The answer is no, because if the shooting in Buffalo did not fit the predetermined Democrat narrative, if the shooting in Buffalo did not serve to advance the Democrat political agenda, we just would not be talking about it. Maybe you would have heard about it. It was a really horrific attack. Maybe you would have heard about it for a day or two, but it would have just disappeared. We wouldn't still be talking. It would be like the Waukesha killing, where a black racist drove his car into a crowd and killed a lot of white people during a Christmas parade not that long ago, just at the end of November? And you would have heard about it for a day or two, and then it would have just disappeared because it wouldn't have served to advance the media's and the political establishment's agenda. It would have been like the New York City subway shooting. The New York City subway shooting was a black racist who went down there and shot lots and lots of people. So over 20 people, I think, were injured in that shooting. But it was a news story for a day or two, and then it just disappeared. Had the shooter been white, it would have been a news story until today. It would have been a news story for 6 months. Same goes for Waukesha. So in just a very technical answer to Megan's question, no, you won't get the 2 minutes to mourn. We wouldn't be talking about it. It's sick. It's sick, and it's really sad that this is the way the media worked. But the only reason that this is in the news, it's not the human tragedy. It's not the sorrow that everyone feels for the victims' families and for the victims themselves. It's not the anger that people feel at the shooter. It is solely to be used as a cudgel to attack the political opponents of the media and of the political class. I'm glad you like that clip. Now smash and like and ring and click and hit the whatever, subscribe, get the notifications. Also head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. Go get the Michael Knowles Show 5-star review. Maybe leave a 10-star review if you don't mind. We'll see you next time.